Okay, you guys have been waiting on this guy over here. That's the Loki Ghost S1. I finally got the silver one I've been waiting on with the two top hats, and I'm getting ready to water cool this thing, and I'm realizing this is gonna suck. Why did I agree to do this? Today's video is sponsored by NordVPN, and we live online. Our lives are online. Our social media accounts, the things we post, the things we do. And you know what? Bad people want to spy on that information. So don't let them encrypt your data with a virtual private network. Now, NordVPN has over 5,000 servers in over 61 countries across the world, meaning regardless of where you are, there's likely a server that you can connect to encrypt your data. Now, right now, my viewers can get 75% off a 3-year membership and a free month by using offer code Jayztwocents, or you can click the link in the description below. Okay, so here's the challenge. If you're not familiar with this case, I did a video about it in the past. Actually, there's a black one back there that we did a build on, sort of. But this is it right here, and it's not really screwed together, so it's probably gonna fall apart. Here's one of the other top hats. It's an ITX case, obviously, and it's expandable. You can build it up as tall as you want. But here's the thing. I was like, I'm gonna do a fully water-cooled with graphics card and dual radiators and obviously CPU. And then it came in and I looked at it and it's like, you know what? What crack was I smoking thinking I'm gonna fit all that in here? So that's my dilemma. It's actually ended up being this tall when the other top hat is on. And in terms of height, that's not our problem. Our problem here obviously has a lot to do with depth as well, because the graphics card goes on one side and the motherboard goes on the other, and then it's got this riser card, as you can see, to connect everything together. We've got a power supply that goes right here, and I'm realizing there is absolutely no room whatsoever for a reservoir or a pump. So I've kind of been scouring the internet looking for pump block combos, because if I can get the block and the pump on the CPU, then that, I just realized this was half hanging off the table, holy crap. You were gonna let that fall for the sake of the video. I know you, Phil. What I realized is if I can get a block pump combo, a CPU block pump combo, that will take up a lot of my space constraint problems, and then I might actually be able to make this work. Now there's another conflict here where we're gonna have an issue here, specifically with the GPU. So I was gonna use my 2080, but I thought there's really no point in that. This is gonna be a mobile editing rig for CES for the most part, and I forgot to loosen the other screw. So this is one of those things where I promised the audience I was gonna do this, even though it took low-key like a year to get the case built. I guess given how long it took me to do the Post Malone build, I can't really complain about that. Now, can I? So that's a little besides the point though. What I wanna show you guys here, and this is actually gonna be, I think, an easier problem for me to deal with, but if I put the side panel on, what you're gonna see is I do not have very much room whatsoever between these fittings and the side panel. Like, those aren't gonna fit in there. Let me take this off and actually show you. So I can screw this down in there. Okay.
Technically that works.
Technically it does work. The problem I had here was the fitting is typically wider than this piece here, if that makes sense. Now, fortunately, I live very close to a micro center, and they carry water cooling stuff, so I ran down there and got some barbs because I didn't have any non-compressions. My issue is compressions would probably not work here, and it looks like these, I'll screw it in like that so you can see, it looks like these are the exact same diameter, so that might actually work. A compression fitting, or like this guy right here, as you can see, would have a collar that screws down on it, making the fitting wider. And this is the same ID or inner diameter as this guy right here, but the collar would have then hit the side piece. So I decided to go with barbs, very old school, and that looks like that will actually clear. And if it does, then that's one less thing I'm gonna have to worry about today. The barbs actually fit. So there's problem number one, sort of handled. Now let me show you problem number two. So as you can see, I'm gonna have a bit of a vertical clearance issue when it comes to the CPU, because once you put on this side now, or just slam it on in there, you can see there's not a lot of space in there. So there's no room anywhere in here for me to comfortably do a pump or reservoir or any of that stuff. Because don't forget, right here where this spot goes, and everyone's gonna be like, oh, you could just do it right there in the bottom. No, because here's the radiator. I'm gonna take this tube off. Geez, that's a good fit. Ladies. All right, so if I go ahead, let me just screw this down so that you guys can have a very good visual. These small form factor builds, man, if you go on Reddit or overclock.net or any forum where people are showing off their ultra small form factor builds and it's clean and they've got like rigid tubing and stuff, man, give those guys a like, because I don't think people realize the amount of work this is to get all this to fit right. So then this goes here like this, and then this ends up mounting onto there, and then this goes like this. So you can see just how quickly you run out of space. So that's the thing I'm trying to figure out now, is how I'm gonna make it freaking work. So, all right, long roundabout way of saying, I decided to use a long roundabout way of saying I tried to use a Fractal Design Kelvin pump, because it's a pump block combo. It sounded pretty powerful. The problem was, once I hooked up all of the radiators and the GPU block and obviously the CPU and the GPU, it didn't really move the water too well. So I had this idea. The problem is bleeding the air out of here, because there's no room for a reservoir at all, which actually there might be room for something I know of at another place at another time, but that's okay. I digress. I need a way, I guess, to water cool it. Cut. So here's what I'm thinking. This is one of the AlphaCool cross-flow radiators that I showed you guys. So it all comes in one side, goes across and comes out the other side instead of doing a U bend on there. But you see how there's fittings on both sides? I'm thinking that might make an opportunity for me to fill from up top, because as long as the air can get out, if I undo one screw and the other screw and slowly fill it and let it just get down into the loop, we might actually get this to work. Look how small that is. SFX power supplies are normally much bigger than this, that are this watted. Okay, this is promising. Look at that. It goes up like that. So that's pretty much all the main components in there. So that's the space we have to work with. Well, I have enough fittings to even mock this up now. I'm just losing my brain, my mind, it's gone.
That's disturbing.
You're gonna end the video that way, aren't you? That is 100% plumbed up now. That is a fully custom loop in there. So if this pump ends up not working out, there are other options. There's like the Apogee from Swift Tech. My concern with that one though is the fittings are on either side, and I have clearance issues all around, as you can see. Memory here, obviously there's space issues up top. There's a heat sink down here. With ITX, it's very squished, so I'm concerned that the Apogee won't fit. But this is fully plumbed up, ready to go for me to do my fill test. I'm not positive this pump's gonna be able to push it all through. I already had it all put together on the table, which is the way this video started. That's what I was doing before we started this video, but I found my 90s. You know, it actually wasn't that bad to build in, believe it or not. I mean, the full loop is in there. This is the side I care about. This is where you're gonna be able to see all the fluid. The only wiring that's not in here is the 8-pin EPS and the PCI Express. There's two cables there, obviously, which are going to kind of hide underneath the PSU, sort of down here, kind of over here, which will sort of fill out this space. But when I'm ready to put it together, I can just slide the top hat back on, and over this, these wires are in the way, but I can just slide this back on like so, and then put the top cover on, and that's basically what a Ghost S1 looks like with a dual rad, water-cooled Titan X, and a water-cooled 9900K. So this is a beast. So here is my hope, is because this side has a fitting that goes straight through and straight out to the air, and this side has a fitting that goes straight through down into the CPU pump, that I can fill it like this. Like this top radiator becomes my reservoir. That's the hope here. And yes, I'm using drinking water because it's all I have right now, and this is just a test. So bite me. This pump just does not have enough head pressure to actually move the fluid fast enough to force the air out, which is why the bubbles are just staying still. And I have been tilting and turning, and you can see I've got basically an IV feeding into the top rad, and no matter what, I cannot get all the air out. So we're gonna end up probably going with an Apogee Drive 2, which is my only other option. Now that's a Lang DDC pump, which is a very powerful pump on top of a copper water block, and I think we will clear our components here. If not, then modifications will be happening. But anyway, I can get everything in this system and still get the sides on, which is what today's video is all about. I was hoping this pump would be good enough for the 2 rads, the GPU block, and obviously the pump combo. It's not. So when we do the last part of this video, I'm sorry this is a 2-parter, but when we do the last part of this video, it will be all done. It will have the fluid in there, the lighting and everything, and we'll finish it off with part 2. And then this will be Phil's editing station for CES, a 9900K that will be overclocked with a Titan X and all M.2 storage. And then we'll have to go with an external for our dump drive because of the fact that there's nowhere else to mount any drives in this. We took all those options out, which was really only one of them, this little bracket right here. SSD mount that goes onto a radiator or a fan, which can probably come in handy in another build later on. So yeah, I swear to God, Phil, if I catch you playing games in your hotel room on this because it's super powerful, well then I'll be mad that I didn't get an invite. Unless I got an invite and then we're cool, so that's all right. All right guys, we're gonna go. Thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see you in the next one.
And action.
Now today's video is sponsored, no, I wanna, and people want, I keep pointing this at something. Let's do that again. And a free, let's do that at the end. Okay, you name it, we are online and connected every single.
And action.
Now,
Wow, one word through it. Dude.
one syllable.
All right, and action.
Today's video is, you can click the link in the description below. Ow! I went to do yeah, but I was.
There's a table there, dude.